So as part of the work that I've been doing this summer in getting the garage workshop cleaned up, one of the things that I really wanted to add was some storage space for wood and other materials. So back here is the finished product, or at least the partially finished product. These are a set of shelves that I added, and this is just one 4x8 sheet of concrete ripped down into 3 sections. You got these 2 top shelves here, and there's a lower one there. And you notice the problem right away. Stuff likes to fall off of them because they're totally open. So what I'm going to work on this morning is just adding on some simple uprights that go across these here in an effort to try and keep these long pieces from kind of falling down. I don't necessarily love how these shelves turned out. I may end up with some kind of wood or materials storage cart that I've got plans for. But for right now they work pretty well. I'm just tired of stuff falling down. So we're going to put these little edges up here and try and get those things so that they don't fall down quite so easily. So in an effort to try and reuse some materials and save having to buy new stuff, what I ended up doing was just taking one of these old fence pieces that was left over when we put our fence up on our house and cutting it down into these little 8-inch segments. So they'll go here and here just as a stop to try and keep those pieces from falling off so much. So I'll just join those with some screws. So one tip I wanted to share before I actually attach these is something that I picked up from Adam Savage from Mythbusters. In one of his videos he details the Sortimo system that he uses, and I don't have those, and evidently they're pretty pricey and only available easily in Europe. But what I do have is this Stanley case. The latches on this broke, so it's not practical in terms of keeping the bins inside it from falling out, but I actually just keep it in a drawer full of fasteners. It fits perfectly in that drawer, and then I can open the case and I can actually pull out an individual bin of fasteners to take over to a work site. And so that makes this pretty nice. So I'm just going to use some of these screws to attach the uprights to the shelves now. So here I'm just going to go ahead and add those uprights. So start with laying this guy in place. Get it squared up. Should hold pretty nicely. So I realized as I was putting these up that unfortunately the way I was going to do it wasn't really going to work. So I used these little fence pieces, and unfortunately this wood is super dry, it's fairly thin, and trying to drive screws directly through it, of course, cracked the wood. So what I really need to do in the spirit of doing it right is to take these back off, cut some new pieces, and actually drill some pilot holes. Like I said, these shelves aren't permanent. They're not necessarily an ideal or permanent solution, but I want to at least do things relatively right. So these will come down, throw the cracked pieces in the scrap pile, and start over. Now, making that mistake and not drilling pilot holes at first wasn't all bad, because it does give me an opportunity to use one of my newest pieces of equipment here in the shop, which is this Craftsman drill press. This is a great score. I found this for $25 on Craigslist. Gotta love that. Guy was moving to Seattle and listed it online, and I was able to pick it up, and very happy with it. It's a great piece of work. So I'm going to get a drill bit chucked into this and go ahead and drill some pilot holes so I can put these up properly. So to make things easier on myself, one thing I've done this time is I drilled the screws. I've actually got the screws started while it's in there. I also added a third screw so that it would make contact, with the actual plywood face instead of just floating free. I think that third point of stability is going to give it some extra strength. That looks much better. No cracking, nice and solid right there. Even though this is a thin piece of wood, having those 3 points of contact to the shelf as well as to the support below it, I think is going to make a big difference. So now I'm just going to put the rest up. So there's the finished product. It's not a huge change, like I said, but I think it'll help things to stop falling down quite so much. I also added a piece of 2x2 here, not even screwed in, just kind of loose as a bit of a lift to help hold things in place. So now long stock like this will have less of a chance of falling off the shelves. Thanks for watching.